We're about to talk to Sophie. And Sophie, am I right about this? You married yourself?
You are correct, yeah.
And you right now, are you in the UK?
Yes, I'm in Brighton in the UK, yeah.
And do you say you're your own wife or your own husband, or do you not say, like, what's that relationship there?
I say I'm a sologamist, which is like the official term for someone who married themselves.
Sologamist would be solo,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's the root,
Yeah,
solo.
that's it,
Yeah.
yeah.
How?
So
Why would you marry your? I think this is interesting. I've never heard of this, but why would you marry yourself?
for me, there were several reasons. I feel like there's quite a big stigma around being single in our culture. So it was sort of a bit of a statement against that in a way, because I feel like society is kind of obsessed with romance, all the films and books and songs are about it, and there's that you can't really live happily ever after until you found your other half to complete you. And yeah, I've been met with lots of sort of unwanted sympathy when I've been single in my life. Like people kind of assume that I'm going to be miserable and sad, and how are you still single? Or don't worry, the right person's just around the corner. And I just kind of got a bit sick of that sort of sympathy, like I should feel ashamed or had to make an excuse as to why I hadn't settled down yet. So then I thought, I feel like I need a way to express the fact that I am happily ever now, and I'm happy in myself, and I want to have a ceremony to show myself growth and self acceptance and self love.
So you had a wedding to marry yourself.
I did indeed, yeah. I had a self wedding in Brighton outside in 2015.
Do you invite people to that wedding? Do they have to RSVP? Because I'm having a wedding right now, Sophie. I got to tell you, the RSVPs are so annoying. Do you have to have people RSVP to your wedding?
I sent out invites on social and by text, and loads of friends accepted straight away and booked hotels, which I was actually really overwhelmed by, because it was kind of a bit of a tongue in cheek ceremony. I wouldn't have been offended if they hadn't come, but actually loads of people, showed up.
And do you do two sets of vows? Do you read one to yourself and then move to the other spot and read one to yourself, or do you just say one set in a mirror?
So I adapted the traditional vows from the plural to the singular, and that worked pretty well actually.
Her Instagram, her social media is the Sologamist. Is that how you say it? Sologamist, Sophie?
Sologamist, yeah.
I am someone who was single almost all my life. I mean, I'm engaged now for the first time. I'm 41 years old, and I know I relate to people feeling sorry for you forever, because that happened to me. People were like,
Yeah.
oh, you're just alone. I can't wait. And I was like, hey, eventually I'll find whatever. I'm glad I don't have to marry myself. I'm glad I found the person. But what does it mean legally for you? Like, do you get any benefits for being married but to yourself?
I think the whole thing about legally recognizing a marriage is kind of to protect your individual assets. So if it comes to like a divorce, you're protecting your own assets. So I think there's no real need for a legal recognition of solo marriage, because it's just you and your own assets.
You ever cheated on yourself?
People ask that, but I'm not trying to be two people, so it's not like it's a massive betrayal if I'm with someone else. And I wouldn't divorce myself either, because that would mean that I can no longer live with myself, which is basically suicide, isn't it?
Are you still open, if the right person comes along, man or woman, that you could marry them?
Yeah. So the thing is, self marriage for me is about self love, and marriage is about romantic love. And self love and romantic love, they're not mutually exclusive. They can exist together. It's just, I think, self love. I was just trying to raise the agenda of it, and like raise the profile of it, and show that it's probably just as important as romantic love. So it doesn't mean that I'm going to live like a nun and never embrace meaningful relationships with anyone else.
I mean, she's kind of encouraging me to marry myself. I'll be honest with you. She has a great point. When you first hear about it, you're like, all right, she's marrying herself. What does this mean? But now she's telling me why it's about loving yourself. I do take me to be my lawfully wedded husband. I'm into it. Yeah, this is good. Are there other people like you that have married themselves?
I believe so. Yeah, there's mainly women kind of around the world. I'm hearing about more and more cases in like Europe, some in America, I think.
In your family, what do they think about the situation that you're kind of becoming known for marrying yourself?
They were already kind of on board, because I actually wrote a novel about it before I married myself, and they were so it wasn't a new concept for them, but I mean, my mum was a little bit, she's had 3 divorces though, but she was a bit puzzled. My dad was totally on board and he gave me away to myself. And yeah, he actually loved the whole thing.
What's the lesson? I'm curious. You've been married now you've been married to yourself for 6 years, if I'm doing the math here. What's the lesson you'd like to teach me about marrying yourself?
I guess for me, the vows I took, I'll always go back to and never regret, because it is just all about self-love and self-acceptance and promising to be your own best friend and be responsible for your own happiness, because whether you're in a relationship with someone else or not, you should be able to fill your own cup and not go to them asking them to fill it. So that's what it is, really. I think you can be sort of happily invested in your own self-love journey and also be in a really happy relationship with someone else.
I got to tell you, Sophie, I thought you were going to come on and you're going to be pretty nutty. This is the truth. I was like, all right, let's talk to Sophie. She's going to be nuts. We're going to probably have a few laughs. But I think your message is amazing. I think your message is fantastic. Like, it's all about finding, your worth within yourself before you can actually ever care about finding it within. I mean, I think the whole marriage thing was a little nutty, I'll be honest with you. However, I do think, Sophie, that this is a great message, and this was not the angle I expected to go with this interview. I thought we'd come in and be like, how crazy is Sophie? But you're just kind of crazy, not fully crazy, and we're all kind of crazy. So I admire that. So what are you getting out of this? Like, you're talking to folks. What's the goal here?
For me, it is that raising awareness of, I'm a self-love advocate, and I think it solves. I think when you deal with your own crap, the less others have to, and I think it solves a lot of problems in society, actually. So yeah, I'm just like out there to have start conversations about it. And on that point about ceremony, I know that like having a big self-wedding ceremony might be a little bit nutty, but for me, I do think in our culture, like, we don't have many rituals or like rites of passage that celebrate our personal development apart from marriage. And if you choose not to marry, then you don't really have any milestone. So yeah, that's why I did it. But I think you can love yourself in lots of different ways. You don't have to marry yourself.
Did you watch Ted Lasso, and what did you think about his depiction of English soccer?
What?
Ted Lasso, the show. Did you watch Ted Lasso, the show? And they're in England playing soccer. I always wonder from people in the UK. Oh, you don't know anything about it? Okay.
No, I don't. Sorry.
I was stunned by that question. I thought I said something extremely offensive there. No, it's a show, American show, where he goes to England and he coaches a soccer team. And a lot of my UK friends are like, well, it's not exactly accurate, but that's all. Okay. Well, listen, I feel good about this. She's at the Sologamist. If you want to spell it, it's Sologamist, because it's a tough word. Sologamist. Her name is Sophie. Amy, anything you'd like to say to Sophie?
Yeah, I guess since you did choose to celebrate it with a ceremony and you had your own little wedding, do you get to register for gifts?
What a great question.
I actually said no gifts, which I actually instantly regretted, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I could have done with a nice gift list, but I was like, no, your presence is my only present.
Did you have a first dance song, and did you dance alone?
I invited everyone to my first dance, so we had a whole bunch of us. There's actually a video on YouTube of like everyone dancing to my first dance.
Oh, that's
it
fun.
got a bit crazy.
What was the song?
It was Trini Lopez, If You Want to Be Happy for the Rest of Your Life. Do you know
if you want to be happy for the rest of your life,
then to make a pretty woman in your life.
Yeah.
So from my personal point.
That's the one.
Well, Sophie, I have to say it. I'm a fan.
Thank you.
What?
Except
Amy?
for, isn't there
your own one.
a lyric in that song? You pick an ugly girl to marry you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That was kind of just the irony, like a feminist irony.
Oh, okay.
I have a question, Bones.
Yeah, go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, so has she ever dated anyone and then them feel bad because they feel like they're
they're in a marriage. They're interrupting a marriage.
She's already married.
Yeah.
No, because it's not about that.
It actually, the guys that I have dated since, they kind of are on board with it before we end up, going too deep.
Yeah.
So they normally don't feel weirded out by it.
Okay, good.
Well, congratulations on 6 strong years of marriage to many more. Follow her, the Sologamist. Sophie, this has been a real treat, and thank you for your time. And hopefully, we'll at some point we'll talk again.
Thank you so much, and good luck with your own marriage.
Thank you very much. There she is, everybody, Sophie.
It's a Bobby Bones show.